Welcome to my channel. My name is Ria and today we are going to talk about the full moon happening in the sign of Aquarius. So let's get started. Now, a full moon in astrology means a point of completion, culmination, things closing out, things coming to an end, things completing themselves, a point of emotional release as well. So in general, that's what a full moon is. This full moon is in the sign of Aquarius. You can see that's the moon at 9 degrees of Aquarius and it is opposing the sun at 9 degrees of Leo. This is a full moon. Aquarius is the sign ruled by Uranus. It's a very progressive sign. It's a sign that is to do with science, innovation, tech, the new age, right? It's about the future. It's futuristic. But Aquarius is also a very detached sign. It's about detaching from things. So these are the big themes that we can see on a collective level: science, tech, innovation, progress, new age. And in our personal lives, this can also mean this need to detach maybe. So that's in general. If you know your charts, look for 9 degrees of Aquarius, that particular house, because that's where this change is going to happen for you. Now let's talk about the aspects this moon is making, because the aspects will color the energy of the moon, right? So let's talk about those. First thing that's happening is that Jupiter here, 13 degrees of Taurus, is going to square the moon. It's not exact. The moon is building up to its square with Jupiter on the full moon. So we'll probably feel this energy. Jupiter is a magnifier. It exaggerates things. It really blows things out of proportion, right? That's Jupiter. It's a benefic. Yes, it brings lessons and gifts and blessings. Yes, but it also magnifies things. And this is a square. A square represents the need to change, the need to grow, the need to evolve. It can feel slightly challenging, right? So what this means is, to me, that there is perhaps this energy really asking us to change, evolve, and grow. And this might require some form of detachment, right? Some form of maybe learning a lesson. Or in order to access the blessing, we might need to go through a lesson, or we might need to do some work, right? So that's what this means to me. Now, the second thing that's going on is, speaking of Jupiter, is that it is trining Mars on this moon, right? It is trining Mars, almost exact actually. And Mars is the planet of action. Mars is the planet of getting things done. So there is, and trine is positive, so there is an abundance of energy to take action, to move forward, to get things done. So taking action is a big theme. Detaching is a big theme, right? And this might require, at some level, especially the detachment part, a little bit of effort on our side, because if we make that effort to perhaps detach, right, or learn that lesson, or deal with that energy that's a little exaggerated, then probably the action will come easier, because the trine is there with Mars, the planet of action. The next thing that's going on this moon is the fact that we have Saturn here and Mercury here. Opposition, right? Saturn is the planet of decisions. It's the planet of commitment. It's the planet of hard work and discipline and dedication and persistence. It's got a very long-term vision, Saturn. It does things with a long-term perspective in mind. And here we have Mercury, the planet of our mind, the planet of the little things, our routine, our diet, exercise, health, our thoughts, right? That's Mercury. And an opposition is a challenging aspect. And in an opposition, we need to integrate two elements. We need to make them work together. And in order for them to work together, we might need to put some effort. So what could happen here is, firstly, Saturn can also feel a little stressful. It can feel a little pressured as well. So what needs to happen, what could happen here is that we might feel slightly emotionally tensed, perhaps for around the moon. And this can also mean we might need to commit. We might need to decide. We might need to take decisions. We might need to think with a longer term perspective in mind, right? So whatever we are thinking in terms of anything, and especially in terms of our routine and health and diet and all those things, that has to be with a long term perspective. So that's happening as well. And that's something to keep in mind, and that's something to watch out for. So if you feel a little bit of pressure, if you feel a little bit of stress, it is going to pass. It's momentary. But taking that decision or thinking with a long-term vision can be helpful in managing this energy. Right, so few more things I want to touch upon real quick. The first is that we have Pluto here, and we've spoken about this many times. Pluto here, Rahu, Ketu, North Node, South Node, 90-degree angles, right? Pluto is squaring the nodes, and the last week, right? Last week, the square was exact. So build up to this full moon, Pluto has been squaring the nodes. And if you see now, Pluto is at 2852, and on the moon, the nodes are at 2823, right? So still quite close, still very close actually. And this aspect, again, a square can feel challenging, and this aspect is all about transition. It's all about letting go, it's all about renewal, it's about letting go to renew, ending to begin. It's about change, right? This is the point that we have built up to with this Pluto square the nodes, where changes have already been put in motion, right? They're already there, and this can be really a week, the past 10 days of letting go, of changes, of taking decisions about changes for the future. It's a very transformative time, and again, it's about stepping up to the transition because it's a square. It requires change. It requires us to put in the effort. It requires us to make the effort so that we can step into this newness that's coming. And this newness is not completely new. And what I mean by that is that we've been building up to it. We have glimpses, we've been working on it, and finally this past week, it could have felt that things are moving more towards that change, more towards that transition, more towards that transformation. But that aspect of feeling maybe a little bit of pressure to change is there, and stepping up and embracing that change is probably the way to go about this energy. We also have another aspect going on, and if you don't know, that's Venus. So let's talk about Venus a little bit. Venus went retrograde a few days ago, right? 22nd, 23rd July. So about almost 10 days ago now. And Venus is the planet of love and money and finances and self-worth. And when Venus retrogrades, we review these things, right? We review matters connected to relationships, to finances, to all these sort of things. So Venus retrograde is a period of reflection on these matters. And you can see Venus is retrograde. And Venus retrograde here is trining. Not exact, but still in a trine with Rahu, the North Node. And while Pluto is squaring the nodes, Venus is trining and sextiling the nodes. And what this can mean is that whatever transformation changes we are making, it can have an impact on our relationships and finances as well, right? And since so many planets are retrograde, we might be thinking about a lot of these things. We might be reflecting about a lot of these things. So that's something that I wanted to just mention really quick. And we are also reviewing with Venus retrograde how our relationships, how our finances, how our self-worth is to be in the future, how we are aligning it with the future, because we do have Pluto square the nodes, right? Asking us to reassess, reevaluate, even change, transform our direction for the future. So we are in that peak energy that we've been speaking about of change and transition. We are there. And the nodal shift happened about 2 weeks ago. Rahu is in Aries, Ketu is in Libra, North Node Aries, South Node Libra. the themes are shifting. They have shifted with North Node in Aries. This is about themes of individuality, identity, independence, could be aggression as well. And with South Node in Libra, this is about relationships as well. Right? Finding that balance between relationships and independence, finding that balance between our own individuality and identity and others. And with Venus retrograde, Venus rules Libra, where the South Node is, a lot of review of relationships and finances can be happening right now. So that's the moon in a nutshell. I do want to mention something. We will speak about this on the next moon video as well. But Mercury here is going to retrograde in the month of August 23rd, I believe. So in another 20 days or so, we will see Mercury retrograde as well. So at that point, even now, we have a lot of retrograde energy. Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, Venus. A lot of retrograde energy, which means a lot about reflecting on things, a lot about reviewing things, a lot about going back to things we might have thought about, started in the past. And with Mercury retrograding on 23rd August, we'll have another planet. And soon after that, on 28th August, Uranus here will also retrograde. So a lot of retrograde energy, a lot of review, a lot of maybe feeling things are not moving as fast as they could or they should, right? So that's something I wanted to mention as well. So that's the moon video in a nutshell, and I've covered the highlights that are going on. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.